Hello and welcome back to MindSpanse. My name's Craig, and I want to thank you for taking some time with me. Today, I want to talk about, I write about this all the time on my Instagram page, and so check that out. It's on MindSpanse. But it's something that I just wanted to do a video on, which is that the world reflects your inner state. We often look at nature, and nature is a great guide to help us understand. So the reflection in a calm water versus the blurry reflection in a busy water, right? And so that as we calm and quiet ourselves internally, we have a clearer vision of what's happening externally as well as internally. But more importantly is what we perceive and how we perceive things. And really knowing it is different than sort of, yeah, maybe, but really like everything that we perceive and is a reflection of the lens that's what's going on inside us, So if you're angry about something, you're going to see the world in a certain way, and things are going to show up, and you're going to see things in people's faces, and you're going to, everything's going to be different. And if you're like in a really great place, you're going to look at all the beautiful things, beautiful colors, and you're going to focus on that. And that's what you're going to be shown, right? And so I want to talk some more about that and ways to recognize and change your perspective. So, but first, the giant stretching. Take a deep breath and stretch really high. And at the same time, push your feet down to the ground, or if you pretend like someone's pushing down on the lower part of your back as you're stretching up, and just feel your spine just totally elongate and stretch, and then let go. Relax your shoulders and your jaw, and we're good to go. So we're walking outside, and we're in a good mood or a bad mood, and all that stuff, and is going to be reflected in how we perceive the world that we're in, and it's sort of easy to say, but you don't realize it, and it impacts your whole moment to moment, present day, everything. And so you can adjust that inside so that the world becomes a more happier, elevated place to interact with, right? Which would be better than an evil, dangerous place to interact with, right? So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit. So I'm sure as a kid you used to look at clouds and see what you saw in clouds, or they tell you there's Rorschach tests, where they have blobs of paint and what do you see in that and whatever. And those are good sort of tests to get you to understand that everyone sees the world differently, number one, and it's also a reflection. When you answer those questions, it's a reflection of what's going on inside you, so people can use that to understand like where your fears are, or anxieties, or what's making you happy, or where you're at that particular point in time. And so all that's really good, except if you don't do anything with it, so in which case but you can do something with it. And so I think what I try to do, well, number one, I the meditation component of all this, which I highly encourage everyone to try and see how they go, and try a little every day, to spend a little time reflecting and just quieting yourself and relaxing yourself. And you could watch mine or many other people's, whoever you tend to like to watch, help you through this process, because it's good to have a guide, or many guides for that matter. I have many piano teachers, because everyone has a unique experience to share. And as you go through that process, you start to uncover things about yourself, and maybe you have some more clarity. But what's really helpful is, as you unclutter things a little more, not much, but just a little bit, that when you walk around, you'll start to realize like that it's different today than yesterday, or that I'm seeing things differently, or I'm noticing different things, or I'm seeing something on a building that I never noticed before. And all those things are just reflections of stuff going on inside you. And sometimes, so the point is to then realize it, to sort of stop for a minute. It's sort of like writing down your dreams. Like, this is a moment, and just sort of reflect on why it is that you've noticed that, whatever it may be, and then go on your way. But it's just taking that time to just stop and be like, why did I just feel threatened by some group of people or whatever? I felt a threat. And maybe there is a threat, maybe there's no threat, but it certainly, it reflects the fact that there was some fear in me, right? And then on some other day I would feel nothing. I mean, I would have no issues with that. And so it just sort of reflects on where you are in your head, or maybe it was something you saw on the news that got you nervous or whatever. And so it's your state is now being reflected externally, because that's the only thing that you perceive, right? I mean, it's there, whether you're here or not, probably, but certainly the way you perceive it is very unique to your lens. And so when you take that time, your brain starts to change, which I know that they've always told us that that's not possible as you get older, and it's just not true. It's called neuroplasticity. You can look it up, and it happens your whole life. You can restructure the neural connections in your brain by doing tasks, focusing on things, whether they be physical things or mental exercises. So you can train your brain to say, he's feeling this way, he's noticing this. And so you'll stop yourself more and more and more from moving too far, getting attached to a situation, so to speak, particularly negative ones. I mean, of course, if it's really beautiful and happy and you're into it, that's awesome. But some purists would say, oh, you shouldn't be attached to that too. And I'm like, I'm attaching to happiness. Why shouldn't I? But I don't want to attach to fear and anxiety and unhappiness. So that's what I train myself to do, is to notice when I'm feeling those things, or when I'm perceiving the world in a certain way, or I'm seeing something, or noticing things that are sort of more in the negative side of the universe as opposed to the positive side, and then just readjust and realize that that's coming from inside, not from there. And even like you see some dirty puddle, and it's just gross. But then you realize that it's gross, and you look at it again, and you see that it's reflecting this beautiful blue sky, and a bird just flies by in the reflection, and you're like, wow, that is so beautiful. And that's can only happen when you start these kinds of this work. It's not really work, but this process of quieting, understanding, stopping, taking note of what's happening around you, taking note of your feelings, and then by doing that, you retrain your brain to help you be better, to help you elevate your life. That's the only thing I care about is how do we elevate our lives so we have better days, happier days, joyful days, loving days, gratitude, and if I can do that, then that's awesome. So with that, I wish you all an amazing spring day. It's so beautiful out here. And subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with all your friends, because that gets the word out. And check out all my other stuff. I've guided meditations for sleep are really fun. I just did a bunch of lucid dreaming. That's really fun. And there's tons more stuff on the site, and also I do a lot of writing on Instagram too, so at MindSpanse. And that's what I got. Have an awesome day, and thank you for your time.